Hello everyone, I'm Herman van Papenop, Head of Asset Allocation at Momentum Investments. Please allow me to share with you my views on the outlook for first global and then local financial markets in the next year. It will probably be of little surprise to you that we will start our discussion on global asset classes with reference to the impact of US President Trump's election on financial markets. We can see from the red line on this chart that since Trump's re-election in November 2024, the relative performance of global equities to global bonds has been less favorable so far for global equities than was the case in the corresponding period from Trump's first term victory in November 2016, which is shown by the blue line on this chart. Now, why is this? We think this can be partly attributed to the very strong equity returns experienced in 2023 and 2024 that naturally should be expected to constrain the magnitude of subsequent equity returns this time, which is in stark contrast to the weak equity performance in the 2 years leading up to Trump's first election victory that provided the potential for significant subsequent equity upside at that time. It is also true that Trump's victory back in 2016 was much more of a surprise to markets then than now in 2024, with markets this time already discounting the perceived more equity-friendly policy framework in the run-up to and immediate aftermath of the November 2024 victory, leaving less US equity upside from now on. We still believe that the overall Trump policy package should be less negative for US growth, and hence for US equities, than for inflation and the fiscal numbers, and thus for US bonds over time. However, in the short term, the almost immediate growth negative implications of an immigration clampdown and higher tariffs are taking precedence in the financial markets over the more medium-term growth-friendly policy elements of deregulation and potential tax relief. These near-term growth worries have put pressure on US equities and supported US bonds as a perceived safe haven asset class in the early months of 2025. However, we caution that the US bond market could be underestimating the upside risk to the medium-term inflation profile, as well as the potential fiscal risk attached to the Trump policy framework. Inflation in the developed world has remained sticky at levels well above inflation targets for quite some time now, with a significant positive output gap evident in the US, with actual economic growth rates above potential growth, a particular inflation concern. On the other side of the Atlantic, German bond yields have risen since the recent German election, as the parties that are likely to form the next coalition government have agreed to relax the country's strict debt brake rules to substantially boost defense and infrastructural spending in a major fiscal policy stimulus that should support economic activity in the coming years. However, despite recent yield rises, developed market bonds outside the US remain expensive relative to their respective equity markets. For instance, the European 10-year bond yield of around 3% at the time of this recording compares poorly with the European equity earnings yield of above 6%. Similarly, the prevailing 1.5% Japanese bond yield is significantly lower than the almost 7% Japanese equity earnings yield. In contrast, US bonds seem cheaply priced relative to US equities versus history, as shown on this specific chart. However, in our view, US bonds could remain cheap versus US equities should inflation and fiscal numbers negatively surprise market expectations going forward. It would be somewhat of an understatement to highlight that President Trump's foreign policy actions so far have ruffled the feathers of allies and adversaries alike and have changed the diplomatic landscape dramatically. But with foreign investors owning 33% of US treasuries, 29% of US corporate bonds, 23% of US listed equities, and 35% of non-listed US businesses, any potential future retributions from countries against the US that cause a reduction in foreign ownership could weigh on US asset prices. Let's conclude the global asset class discussion with our view on global listed property. Worryingly, declining occupancy levels in the US commercial property subsectors outside retail indicate that demand is not caught up with existing supply yet. Although we acknowledge that the structure of the global listed property investable index has changed meaningfully in the last decade, with retail and office now much smaller constituents and data centers, telecommunication, and healthcare becoming more meaningful. Nevertheless, a rising leverage trend in recent years is becoming a risk to the real estate sector. Global listed property currently only looks cheap relative to global equity, but its valuations seem expensive relative to most fixed income assets, including nominal and real treasuries and global investment grade bonds, with yield spreads well below historical averages, as can be seen from the red line on this chart. So to summarize, none of the global equities, global bonds, or global listed property currently looks particularly appealing on fundamental or valuation grounds, with global equity fundamentals maybe somewhat less negative than for the others in our view. Moving into the local asset class space, it is evident from this chart that South Africa's country risk premium has fallen markedly from its pre-election high in April 2024 due to market optimism about the potential for enhanced policy reform implementation under the auspices of the Coalition Government of National Unity that could result in a higher future growth outcome. Although some of the risk premium decline has reversed in recent months on the back of slow reform momentum and a rise in global geopolitical risk, the current risk premium is still well below pre-election levels and roughly in line with the 10-year average. However, despite this lower country risk premium, the valuations of neither the South African equity nor nominal bond markets currently reflect much positive sentiment about a better growth potential for the country going forward. South African equities continue to trade around 1 standard deviation historical lows against emerging market equities on a relative forward PE basis, and more than 1/2 of a standard deviation below its own long-term historical average, as shown on this chart. South African vanilla government bonds also still provide some of the highest backward-looking real yields in the world, only exceeded regularly by Brazil within the emerging markets peer group. Relative to South Africa's own history since inflation targeting started in the early 2000s, the current more than 6% real forward-looking bond yield is comfortably more than 1 standard deviation above the historical average. Although we are likely around the end of the current local falling interest rate cycle, both South African bond and equity returns have historically reacted positively to local interest rate cuts, with equities the clear outperforming asset class in the past. The South African equity market also remains under-owned within global emerging market funds, with South Africa currently the 6th largest underweight in these funds. Furthermore, the exposure of local multi-asset funds to the South African equity asset class remains close to historical lows that were reached after the February 2022 increase in the Regulation 28 foreign asset exposure limit to 45%. There is thus at least no large overhang of overexposure to South African equities by either global or local investors that could induce aggressive forced selling by these investors should they ever want to reduce risk exposure in their portfolios. We think South African inflation-linked bonds should receive fundamental support from the anticipated rising inflation trend from the likely low of 2.8% in October 2024 until late 2025, shown in the blue line on this chart, with some high accrual months expected in 2025. This should lead to a general widening of break-even yields during this time, as shown by the upward pointing red arrow on the chart, that should underpin ILB returns. Based on our expectation that inflation is likely to average just above 4% in the coming year, South African cash still offers an attractive prospective real yield to investors, particularly on a risk-adjusted basis. In contrast to the other South African asset classes, the risk-reward available to investors in the South African listed property sector remains unattractive in our view. Declining interest cover ratios approaching covenants are a risk, as rising interest rates and balance sheet restructurings have increased pressure on finance expenses. In the office sector, vacancies have improved sequentially on a quarterly basis, but are still higher than in the retail and industrial sectors, while office rental reversions are still significantly negative, despite some improvement. Conversely, retail sector vacancies have started coming down and rental reversions have turned positive. Although the listed property earnings yield has historically traded at a premium to South African 10-year bond yields, its current premium appears even more expensive than history. Global central bank gold buying has been the overwhelming driver of a higher US dollar gold price ever since the Russia-Ukraine war in February 2022 initiated a period of elevated global geopolitical risk. As this chart shows, central bank gold buying continued unabated in 2023 and 2024, remaining close to the all-time high reached in 2022. As gold does not rely on any issuer or government, it enables central banks to diversify the reserves away from assets like US treasuries and the dollar. While many developed market central banks have apportioned a meaningful share of their reserves to gold over time, emerging market central banks hold only a small portion of their reserves in gold, as shown in this table. This implies a significant potential upside for the gold price should the major gold holders in emerging markets like Russia, China, India, and Turkey decide to increase the gold exposure within their reserves towards the ratios prevalent in developed markets. From a portfolio construction perspective, the inclusion of a gold exchange-traded fund as an asset class adds to portfolio diversification due to its limited correlation with other asset classes, while its safe haven characteristics during turbulent geopolitical periods also mitigate portfolio risk. In conclusion, we maintain our preference for South African over global asset classes on the back of large valuation margins of safety supporting local asset class forward returns and excessive risk premia attached to the future fundamental outlooks for most local assets. I leave you with assurance that at Momentum Investments we treat our responsibility as custodians of our clients' assets very seriously, and we remain fully committed to building and protecting our clients' financial dreams. Thanks very much for watching.